Shri Guru Charitre, Chapter 29, Significance and Power of Vibhuthi. In this chapter, the great power of the holy ashes is further explained. The mere touch of holy ash on the body of sage Vamadeva, the Maharakshasa, got him liberated. Vibhuthi Dharana Mantra. त्रयंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. The one who spreads the fragrance of Vibhuti around himself and all around, who fosters the worldly well-being as well as the spiritual well-being of all, that three-eyed Lord, him I worship. O you, the Supreme One, like the ripened cucumber which severs itself from the creeper and drops off, grant release for me from death, from the unending cycle of births and deaths. But pray, never cause severance for me from immortality, and may I ever abide in awareness of Thee. Siddha Yogi continued the narrative to Namdharak as follows. Trivikrama Bharati requested Sri Narasimha Saraswati to enlighten them about Bhasma Mahima and how it possesses such great power as they just witnessed in the Matanga episode. Sri Narasimha Saraswati then narrated the following anecdote. There used to be one yogi called Vamadeva. He used to smear his body always with bhasma. His hair was matted and he used to wear the bark of trees for his garment. He was a very exalted yogi. He had won over all the human frailties, sublimated his senses, and conquered the 6 inner enemies, that is, Shadripus. Likes, dislikes, greed, delusion, ego and pride, envy and jealousy, which enslave man. He was a fully realized soul and a Brahmagnani. He used to always be wandering, visiting holy places. One day, he came to the Kraunch Aranya forest. This forest was full of wild beasts. There were also ghosts and Brahma Rakshasas inhabiting the forest. One Brahma Rakshasa noticed Vamadeva entering the forest and he was very happy that he would be having a good feast with the body of the yogi. He fell upon him with a view to eating him up. But Vamadeva was least perturbed and remained steady and calm. The contact with the bhasma on the body of Vamadeva wrought an instant and total transformation of the Brahma Rakshasa. He was totally changed, rid of his demonic nature by the contact with the bhasma. He prayed to Vamadeva to free him from the cycle of birth and death. He told Vamadeva that by the mere contact with bhasma he gained the memory of all his past 25 births. He started recounting them to Vamadeva. The Brahma Rakshasa said he was actually a king of Yavanadesh. But he had a very vicious and lustful nature. He led a very sensuous life, running after women always, without any decency, compunction, and consideration. His sins crossed all bounds and limits. In an encounter with an enemy king, he was killed. He was dragged to the court of Yama. He was subjected to great torture in hell, and later he had to take several births only because of all his sins. He was born as a tiger in one birth, as a wolf in the second birth, as a dog in the third birth, as a camel in the fourth, as a monkey in the fifth, then as a cat, thereafter as a tortoise, then as a frog, and so on. He had suffered much, all of his own making though. Now the mere touch with bhasma had so much soothed his soul, and never before had he felt such peace. He further said that his hunger, which never got satiated normally, however many animals or persons he might eat, was now totally appeased, and that he was feeling a great sense of peace and happiness. He prayed that he should be enlightened as to how the bhasma came to possess such great redeeming power. Vamadeva told the Rakshasa that the power of bhasma is beyond all description, and it is beyond the comprehension of any except of Lord Shiva. Shiva only knows, he alone knows fully the glorious power of bhasma. That is why Shiva smears his whole body always with bhasma. Vamadeva told that there lived once a Brahmin in Dravida Desha. He took to bad ways of life. He took to theft. Once, when he was committing a theft, he was caught and beaten up. He died and his body was thrown in the cemetery. In the cemetery at that time, a dog was sitting on the chitta bhasma, that is, ashes of a burnt corpse. That dog saw the body of the dead Brahmin and came and sat on the body, sniffing it all over. As it was doing so, the chitta bhasma from its body fell over the body of the corpse. No sooner did the chitta bhasma fell over the body of the corpse than the Shivadutas appeared over there, stopping the Yamadutas, who had already come there to take away the jiva of the evil man. A dispute arose between the servants of Yama and Shiva. The guards of Yama were claiming the jiva because the sins committed by the man were countless, and the place he deserved was nowhere else but hell. But the Shivadutas said that with the touch of bhasma on the body, all his sins, however heinous they might have been, had been burnt off and expiated. It is Lord Shankara's command that whenever they see a dead person's body with bhasma smeared on the forehead or even on any part of the body, they should fetch that jiva to Kailash. Thus saying, the Shivaduta snatched away the jiva from the Yamaduta's hands and took it away to Kailash. When this was reported by Yamadutas to Lord Yama, the latter went to Shiva in anger and complained to him about the intrusion, high-handedness and interference of Shivadutas, preventing his servants from discharging their duties and carrying out justice. He complained how could Dharma be protected and the rule of law enforced by him in the world under such circumstances? Shiva then told Yama that Bhasma Dharma is the highest Dharma and it annuls and supersedes all other codes and injunctions of Dharma. He told Yamadharmaraja to tell his servants that they should abstain from approaching the bodies of the dead, smeared with or wearing the marks of Bhasma. Such was the Mahima of Bhasma, said Vamadeva to the Brahma Rakshasa. The Rakshasa requested Vamadeva to teach and explain to him the Bhasma Dharana Vidhi. Vamadeva explained the same through another anecdote. Once, Lord Shiva and Parvati went to the Mandara mountain. All the gods, rishis, apsaras, gandharvas, yakshas, kinnaras, rudragan, shivadutas came and assembled over there. Lord Shiva was seated on his throne. By his side was seated Mother Parvati. Golden in complexion and bedecked in the richest jewelry and adorned with beautiful flowers, she was radiating all splendor. All were absorbed in the ecstasy of the darshan of the divine couple, the mother and the father of the universe. Sanat Kumara Rishi prayed to Shiva to teach them the one Dharma Vidhi, which will be simple to be observed by all and yet will confer all the four Purusharthas, that is the four chief aims of life, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, and which will destroy all the sins, endow bodily and mental purity, and also intellectual illumination. Lord Shiva said there is one Dharma Vidhi which is simple and can be followed by each and everyone, and which will confer all good and save men from all the ills of the world. This Vidhi is called the Tripundra Bhasma Dharana Vidhi. The Bhasma is symbolic to the ultimate truth of all matter. It has a spiritual significance in that it is changeless, immutable like Godhead. It is colorless or white, so to say, indicating purity. In Jabalopanishad, Bhasma Vidhi is described in great detail. Agni is the presiding deity for Bhasma. The ash from the sacrificial fire is most sacred. In the absence of it, ash prepared from cow dung is to be used. A little of ash is to be taken, reciting the Sadyojata mantra. While reciting the Manasthoka mantra, a little water is to be added and mixed in it with the aid of the thumb. Then chanting the Trambakam Yajamahe mantra, it has to be taken near the forehead. And while reciting the Trayayusham Jamadagni mantra, the same is to be applied in 3 lines, that is, Tripundra Dharana. First, with the aid of the middle and the ring fingers, 2 lines are to be applied. The top one and the bottom are from left to right. Then, with the aid of the thumb, the middle line is to be applied, drawing it from right to left. The marks are not to extend beyond the sides of the eyebrows. With devotion, these marks are to be always worn on the forehead. The first line mark is Brahma Devata and is symbolic of Rig Veda. It is denoted by A. It endows Kriya Shakti. The second line is Vishnu Devata and is symbolic of Yajurveda. It is denoted by U. It endows Ichcha Shakti. The third line is Maheshwara himself and is symbolic of Samaveda. It is denoted by Ma. It endows Jnana Shakti. Bhasmadharana can be done by one and all and during all stages of life. It will cure all the ills of the body, mind and spirit. It ensures mental purity, intellectual illumination and spiritual enlightenment in their life, and in the life beyond it opens up the gates of Kailash for him, which is the eternal abode of supreme peace and beatitude, that is Prashanti. Lord Shiva finally said that for destroying one's sins there is nothing comparable to doing Bhasmadharana, but it should be done with full faith and devotion. For one who applies ashes on his forehead and wears the Rudraksha Mala on his neck, there will be nothing wanting for him either in this life or in the life beyond. That was what Lord Shiva explained to Sanat Kumara Rishi and all the assembled sages. Hearing the divine glory of Bhasma, the Rakshasa sought the Bhasma from Vamadeva and applied it upon himself. His Rakshasa form totally changed and he got a new splendorous body. A divine vehicle came and took him away to Kailash. Jai Gurudeva.